audit to be discredited. I ensured, with the help of real big consultants, to help me come up with the terms of reference for these auditors. The lead consultant everyone is talking about is not the forensic auditor. He does not have a lot. Only the other forensic auditors, I'm just taking through so that you can understand yourself. The role of the lead consultant is to gather, when all the forensic auditors have gotten all the data and all the reports from field, they will put it together and then give it to the lead consultant, who will do the reporting, the conclusion, putting it together. That's just his role. He is not the one going to carry out any forensic audit. Now, let me look at the case of the forensic auditor. This Bashir and Co., I'm sure they met up with all their taxes and all, but I do not know if they have ever carried out a forensic audit. So I will be asking to tell them to give you evidence that they have ever carried out a forensic audit before in accordance with the provisions of the Public Procurement Act, which requires that for any consultant contractor, they must show evidence that in the past 3 years or thereabout, they have carried out that. Second issue with the lead consultant. In our document, which is with the BPP, we said that within 90 days of their receiving reports from the forensic auditors, then they would now come up with a report. So as far as I'm concerned, they cannot have any report. Now, have they been procured themselves? The lead consultant. Can I now stand before this committee to say that the lead consultant has been procured? My answer would be no. Why not? It is true that a due process certificate of no objection was indeed given to the NDDC for the procurement of the lead consultant. However, and I believe, which I would ask, that the BPP has stated clearly that it was based, and the certificate shows, which I have sent to you, of course, that certificate of that due process certificate of no objection says source of funding. You remember that you cannot give any approval, you cannot procure any consultant where the National Assembly, it is a criminal offense to procure any consultant without the appropriation made by the National Assembly. In this case, because it will be anticipatory budgeting, in this case, has the National Assembly appropriated funds as stated on the due process certificate of no objection for 2020 budget? There is no appropriation. The 2020 budget has not even been considered, it has not even been discussed, not to mention being passed. Now, when I said in my press briefing that the 2020 budget had not been passed, they ran before you people on Friday or Monday sometime, some days ago, and they could not defend the budget. Therefore, the world will agree with me that the 2020 budget is not passed. Secondly, though they do have an approval, and that is why I said I refused to go before FEC, which is one of the issues of insubordination, because the Act says that if I commit any offense, 5 years imprisonment without an option of fine. So, in going to FEC, it will mean that I intentionally went there to obtain an approval under false pretenses, knowing that the 2020 budget had not been passed, and also knowing that it was criminal and anticipatory, which I want to say was one of the reasons why Obasanjo got the Public Procurement Act enacted. Now, in getting that Public Procurement Act, the World Bank consultants who did that, who came up with a report on fraud, which is part of this, on procurement activity. In their report, they stated that out of every 100 kobo that the federal government lost in corruption, 60% and 60 kobo was from procurement fraud. They therefore asked that immediately the National Assembly must enact a procurement act, and there was no statute for that before now. So now that is your own act, an act of the National Assembly. So we must ensure that that act is being implemented properly to help us check the fraud in Nigeria. Therefore, it is right that we get the National Procurement Council established immediately to be chaired by the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Justice, and Attorney General is also a member. The MPA, there's a list in the Procurement Act. That is what will give credit. Now, let me tell you what would have happened if the National Procurement Council is there. In going to apply for an approval for the procurement of the lead council, they would have found out that it was wrong because it was clearly stated that it should be from the 2020 budget. Now, that approval cannot be applied until the 2020 budget is passed. Therefore, that position of the lead council is a nullity by law.
Okay.
So there is no lead council as far as we're concerned because that contract doesn't exist until the 2020. However, they have said that they have paid the lead consultant. And in paying that lead consultant, my own recommendation would be that he returns the money until the budget has been passed and has shown evidence that
Dr. Nunieh.
The second, no, Mr. Chairman. The issue is that everybody in Nigeria has been deceived that the procurement is going on. Now, it's very, that the forensic audit is going on. It's a major issue. I want to say here, and I'm ready to stand and tell all Nigerians, if they find out that the forensic audit is going on, every testimony and allegation that I have made should be cancelled or disregarded. There is no forensic audit going on. Why? Very recently, and I've submitted that to you, and I think DPP has come to testify, they got a certificate of no objection for the procurement of the forensic auditors. These forensic auditors are the ones that are supposed to be carrying out the forensic audit. In that list, there is no auditing firm in Nigeria that is of big repute that is there. The list, the names of those on that list are the following. 1 minute. Because it's in the document that I've sent to Abuja, I had to tell them to please help me check and get the list of that. The companies, the 9 companies on that list are Emma and Young, GE Osage and Co, Sonny Okun and Co, Abuchi E.O. Egweji and Co, Alliance Consulting and Digital Solutions, Dada Idris and Co, E-Field Associate Services, 8 Discovery Cycle Professionals, 9 BBC Professional. None of our major auditing firms in Nigeria is on that list. Yet we have been told several times that internationally reputable these are on that list. There's none. That is 1. 2. Can I say that the forensic auditors have been procured? My answer is no. Getting that certificate of no objection, it's highly defective. The certificate itself, I would cancel it right away. In the source of funding, BPP failed, refused, and neglected to state the appropriation where the funding of these forensic auditors will be gotten from. So they did not say which budget. What you see on that certificate of no objection is the amount, the cost. Where they're getting it from is not there. However, let us assume that they just put the amount. The next question would be, has it been approved by the Federal Executive Council? No, it hasn't. Does NDDC have an existing budget? No, they don't. Their budget elapsed, I think, 31st of May or thereabouts. I'm not sure which time it expired. But right now, there's no budget. So, these forensic auditors have not been procured. Therefore, I challenge Senator Akpabio because he has sold a dummy to Nigeria that everybody, including members of the National Assembly, are afraid, and they are the ones pushing me to say that they are afraid of the forensic audits going on. I challenge him to bring any of these 9 forensic auditors that have been approved by the Federal Executive Council. He said on television that he has stepped down his memo. Even last week, he stepped down his memo. That was the memo that was supposed to be for the procurement of the forensic auditors. So if you have not gotten your approval, you have not written you have not appointed them officially, where then is the forensic audit going? Why are we as a country being deceived? I challenge him to bring one of these Imanko, Okonanko, to come and say that they are indeed carrying out a forensic. And this is the greatest scam in this country.
Honorable
Nigerians
Dr. Joy,
believe that the forensic audit is going on.
Dr. Joy, from some of the submissions we had, I think
I want to say also that they have not asked for the letter from the Auditor General, which is a requirement, a constitutional requirement, that they must ask the Auditor General for the list of auditors. Did they get these names from the auditors for such a credible forensic audit that is everything for the president? This is a legacy project for Mr. President in his anti-corruption work.
Okay, Dr. Joy, may I ask you this question about the forensic? From one of our submissions we had earlier, we learned that the sum of 641 million naira was used by the NDDC for media support for the forensic across the 9 states of the Niger Delta. So, which was paid to ClearPoint Communications Limited. Are you aware of this?
I don't know. I don't think that the forensic audits to ClearPoint. I don't know ClearPoint.
No. I said media support, contract for media support for the forensic audit. Okay,
that wasn't in my time.
Okay.
Empty.
No.
I don't know anything about ClearPoint. I don't know anybody.
Okay.
The only thing that I paid for during my time was directly to Vanguard, to This Day and all the national dailies. We paid directly to them, NTA, and all of that. And I want to say, part of the things that against me for insubordination was that I refused to carry out a verification exercise in the 9 states. All Nigerian contractors will bear me witness that the verification exercises took place in the 9 Niger Delta states. I did not need to give anybody 600 and something million naira for anything. The verification exercises took place. Now, the chairman of that this is important. The chairman, I appointed and inaugurated the project verification committee. In the memo against me, it said that I chose to set up a committee made up of nearly 100 people. Yes, we did. We sent them to different states, our staff, to go and carry out those. The chairman of that committee was Dr. Cairo. He had nominated Mr. Eyoite as one of the nominees, one of his nominees on the committee. And I said, you can't. because Mr. Eyoete cannot be a judge in his own case, even though the minister asked you to put him on. Why? Because he was the one responsible for emergency contract awards. And so we could not send him. There's a letter which I've also sent to you on that was sent to him. This verification exercise, the next day, Dr. Cairo never participated in that exercise. When they came back, they wanted to give a special verification to some contractors who refused. And this is important, sir. In your investigation of this corruption going on in NDDC, this might help you. What did we find out in that exercise? One, contracts were given out to some companies that were not registered. Some companies got registered after we were awarded the contract. Two, in some cases, contracts were awarded before the designs were given. So you found out that most of the projects were abandoned, which is like what you have in Port Harcourt, at the old Port Harcourt General Hospital that is near the Civic Center. You see a big building there, and the contractor says he couldn't finish it because by the time the design came out, he couldn't do. How do you give a contract awarded without a design? And the most notorious one was that during that exercise, we saw like there were situations where you had 10 to 15 companies having IPCs for the same project. So, Road Peter on Street 5, 2 kilometers. There will be 15 companies that have been awarded that same contract. How do you afford that? So those are the issues that we need to look at. Those are the contracts that we look. So when you say these contracts were given, now I want to say something. Files got missing. Files got missing when we started this verification. I had sent out a memo that no files should be taken out of the commission. You'll be glad to hear, sir, that as soon as I sent out that memo, files were taken out by the EDP and the EDF.
No, Dr. Joy, please. Yes. The issue of the file you raised now is a key issue. Yes. Because of our time, you said files were missing. I mean, yes. They took files or something.
Yeah. I want to say that if you look at the Nigeria Criminal Code Act, that the government, all those documents, when you steal the government's document, it is a criminal offense. So those files were taken. And at that peace meeting that I've been talking about, I raised the issue of the missing files. And I confronted Mr. Akpabio that you collected files, you told the EDF and EDP to take out these files at the weekend. I am assuming that these files are for contracts that when he was governor, when he was senator, and of course the 30 contracts that he was awarded in Distilton and Water Hyacinth when he became the minister.
Sorry, who awarded the 30 contracts? You spoke about 30 contracts now.
It was Chief Sese who was in charge. It's for Water Hyacinth and Distilton, which is why you, sir, you were part of those that asked for that thing not to be paid.
Thank you.
So you know about it. Because the document was on my table, and I can tell you, sir, that you saved Mrs. Akwagaga from making payment. What is this Distilton about? Distilton is moving sand inside the water. Does it make sense? If you push the sand, the water will bring it back. Is that what you give a contract for? So he was awarded 30 of those contracts.
How much was the average cost of a diesel of each of the contracts?
I'm under oath. I don't want to say what I'm not sure of specifically.
Okay. Dr. Joy.
And those files, Mr. Akpabio admitted that he had called them to return the files. When I came back, I've also sent you the letter that I wrote to the two directors, executive directors, to return those files. It's a criminal offense to have collected those files. And before I go, when I refused to do a lot of things, I have no reason to start looking for blood money because my last child is in final year law. I've got 4 children. I just wanted to write my name in diamonds. So when I refused, Senator Akpabio says I have poverty mentality. How can I have poverty mentality? My father is Senator Nunieh. Why would I have poverty mentality? Even on my own, I think I've tried. I refused. He said the only condition for us to work together, if not, he was going to remove me, was if I take the oath, go with him to Uyo to take the oath. It's very important because if I allege on television, and I don't say this because it is in course of my work. So calling me a criminal, I did this, doesn't mean anything. It is criminal under a Criminal Code Act for you to even suggest or force me to try to take an oath. It's 7 years imprisonment. Me, I'm calling on the police to investigate that. Calling me when I refuse to take that oath, and I need to repeat this under oath. At the meeting in the villa, before Mr. Sadiki Abba, who is the SA domestic to Mr. President, and Alhaji Mekam, is the AO of the villa. Akpabio asked me to take an oath if we wanted to reconcile. Fortunately, I had not told these people about him telling me 3 times before. He was the one that now brought it up. And let me say this. The reason why he has been unable to write on any paper that he never told me to take any oath is because the 2 gentlemen are credible people in society. If it were some people, they would have held a press conference that it never happened. But till today, none of them have ever denied that it didn't happen. Okay, so
Dr. Joy.
No, sir, the oath issue is criminal and it's very important. It's very important, sir. We cannot, it's a criminal offense because if I had taken that oath under the Nigerian Criminal Code Act, it would have been life imprisonment for Senator Akpabio. Now that I didn't take the oath, it is, I think, about 5 or 7 years imprisonment for even telling me to take the oath. If I had taken the oath, I would have gone, I think, about 19 years if I had taken that oath. The only excuse that the Criminal Code Act says is if within 2 months of taking that oath, I swear to an affidavit that I was forced under, I took that oath under duress. So me, I'm calling on the Nigerian police to please investigate and charge Senator Akpabio in accordance with the provisions of the Criminal Code Act. 1, for stealing the files of the NDDC for the businesses that and contracts that he has not executed. 2, for telling me to take that oath. 3, I have and I've submitted to you the text message that he sent to me from his mobile phone, saying that I'm Ogoni and that my people have not allowed them to take oil. And he said, one Mr. Etu, who he wanted me to appoint and I refused to be my SAU, sent it to him and he said, in his words, he who lives by the gun shall die by the gun. Now, in the Nigerian Criminal Code Act, it says any threat on a traditional chief. I am a traditional chief. I hold the highest title of honor in my native Ogoni land, Benin. It says any threat on me and my people, life imprisonment. I want the Nigerian police to also take this up for threatening me. I've also submitted to you, and I'm hoping that today I will send in my own petition to the Nigerian police force.
Okay, Dr. Joy. Dr. Joy, can you, some few questions, please. Can you confirm to Nigerians, can you confirm to this honorable committee that in your tenure, you spent only 8 billion naira, as you said. Because from the Central Bank of Nigeria statement and the statement from the Accountant General of the Federation, what we have as expenditure till date from your time as IMC is 81.5 billion. So are you saying of this 81.5 billion naira, 8 billion was what you spent?
Yes. 8 billion on the 2 bridges, on the medical equipment, which I handed directly over to the governors. I did not pay for the drips and all of those ones that had expired. In fact, the governor of Edo State nearly rejected some of the medical equipment. And I want to say this, and it's very, very important. I submitted that to you. This payment for the medical equipment, Mr. Chair.
Go on, please. Please go on.
The payment for the medicals, Senator Akpabio, and I've sent you that, and we have at the commission minutes of management meeting. He had asked that I use those equipment that I installed. Cairo says that I did it, none of them knew. I was not responsible for the warehouses. The warehouses are under the EDFA, which is admin. Now, Senator Akpabio says, go and get a contract. Get a contract, 5 billion. I said, sir, I cannot do that contract. We have those things in store. Why would I award any other contract for the 5 billion? The whole idea was to use this as part of that contract. I have the documents. When we held the management meeting, we wanted him to write it himself because he wanted me to award a contract for what is in the store. How can I award contract for what we have in store? I said I will not. So we held a management meeting where we all agreed that is over my threshold. So, Madam, you will write to Senator Akpabio himself. Let him write to us to award this emergency contract. We wrote to him, I've submitted it to you also. We wrote to him, no reply, because he doesn't write anything for you. You can imagine if I was a very good MD and I obeyed him and used what is in store for that. So I only spent 8 billion.
Okay.
I'm happy that you have the CPN payment.
Dr. Joy, you spoke about certain amount of money in the dollars account before you left, that you did not change the money from the NDDC's account to Naira before you left. Can you tell this committee how much did you leave in the dollar account before you left? How much did you have?
Since I'm under oath, I do not want to be specific because honestly, it's in the documents that you're going to have. I don't want to say anything that will put me in disrepute, that I said this, the whole world is watching. I cannot be specific. However, I want to tell the whole world that I did not touch $2, $1.
Okay, that is well noted. Then did you pay any money for the forensic during your tenure?
Sorry?
Did you pay any money for the forensic audit during your tenure?
I did not pay any money for the forensic audit because from my time there has been no forensic audit till today. I did not pay 1 naira for the forensic audit.
Okay.
1 naira
Dr.
has not been paid by me for the
Dr.
forensic.
Joy, you spoke about the verification exercise that was carried out. How much did the verification exercise cost the commission under your leadership?
I do not know. The only thing that was paid out was accommodation for the people.
Did you engage consultants? Did you?
Yeah, I cannot.
No,
I cannot say.
No, did you engage consultants for the purpose of the verification?
No consultant. The only people that went with us were the police and the DSS. and the DSS gave their reports because we wanted to make sure that even our staff did not compromise.
Okay, did you?
And after that, the DSS, I did not engage any consultants to carry out the verification exercise.
Okay. There is this allegation from some of the submissions that we have, and in the media and from some stakeholders, that any payment that you made or NDDC made, that 20% must be collected from the contractors. Is there any face to that?
I cannot say that. I will not say that any payment that was made by me, Senator Akpabio, collected.
No. I mean, you are being alleged now, not Senator Akpabio. You as Dr. Joy Nunieh, that for contractors that were paid, 20% were remitted back to you as kickback. How true is that?
It's not possible. If I wanted, it did not happen. No contractor gave me 20%. And I want to say this. If I was interested in making money, I was doing a renovation in my house. Contractors came up with all kinds of furniture, Versace, they wanted to buy for me. I didn't. In fact, Senator Akpabio said that I have demystified the position of MD because I personally used to go to the building materials market myself to go to buy. I did not take 10 naira from any of those contractors. As for those ones, everybody talks about those ones for the medical equipment. It's important to tell you why I even agreed to pay those people. Now, when we went to the warehouses and found out that some of those things in the warehouses had expired, we had emergency boats that were warehouses for like 10 years. Boats. We had trucks. I insisted that these things should be distributed in the 9 states. These contractors now stopped us on our way to Imo State. The governor of Imo was Emeka Ihedion. They stopped us that morning from distributing. We are giving the one for Rivers State, we are giving the one for Abia. When we were going in there, these contractors, I only know one of the contractors. I only know only one of those contractors. All other contracts that were paid, I've never seen them in my life.
Dr. Joy, that is well noted. Finally, Dr. Joy, as a former acting managing director of NDDC and a testifier before this committee, what are your recommendations to this committee for the way forward of NDDC?
Well, firstly, I would like to see the forensic audit really take place. It's something I would like you to recommend to Mr. President that we write in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution to Mr. President, the Auditor General, to give you a list of certified forensic auditors in Nigeria, so that we can get them quickly to carry out a proper forensic audit of the NDDC. And mind you, the audit is not just financial. It is supposed to look through the personnel, because in NDDC, I found out that for a commission that is involved in structural things like roads and all of that, they didn't have enough engineers. I don't know if they had more than 10 certified engineers. It's unbelievable. Where we're talking about billions of naira being spent, we didn't have that. So we have to look at a staff audit as well. It's very important. The staff audit to put square pegs into square holes. Secondly, my recommendation is that Mr. President should please ask or direct the immediate establishment of the National Procurement Council. Emergency. That is the first thing, even before we talk about the forensic audits. That would help Nigeria save so much money in terms of fraud and corruption in its ministries or commissions. I believe that the Minister of Finance is very well qualified, and the Attorney General, I know him personally. He is very, very qualified, and I know that if we do that, we'll save at least out of the 60% that goes into procurement fraud, 60 kobo, we might be able to save 40, kobo from all of that. So that is very important. 3, the National Assembly has a role to play. It has this role to play. Your oversight functions would have to be, you have to help the new managements that would come in. You need to supervise them and make sure they act only in accordance with the laws. I'll give you an example. To Senator Akpabio, he felt that the president had delegated all his powers in the NDDC Act to him, which wasn't true. The president only delegated one power, which is over policy. But he felt that he also had the power of the board. You heard him on Arise saying most of these directors that he removed, they are very lucky. They are still there. They are paying them even if they are on leave. The question is, on what basis did the lead consultant write or send those directors on leave or on compulsory retirement? Based on what reports, since there's no forensic auditor, is the consultant or the minister, do they have the powers for directors over level 14 to send them on leave or take any disciplinary action against them? The only power to promote over level 14 lies in the Civil Service Commission, the chairman. So we need you, the committee, has to make sure that anywhere that the minister supervising, or it must be in accordance with the act. There must be a reorientation for the ministers, for supervisory. We didn't really have this sort of problem from the records that I saw when the NDDC was under the office of the SGF. Because he knew that this was the right thing to do. My recommendation would honestly be that the NDDC be taken back to the office of the SGF, because the SGF is very, very busy. He won't go out of his way to start looking for NDDC money. But what we see here is that Senator Akpabio, who has been governor, he still has in his head that he's still a governor, you just do this, you just do that. His budget is like 20 billion. How do you want him to service to supervise a commission that is talking about hundreds of billions? It can't work again. So we need to look at all of those things. But what happened yesterday, just for you to help to raise this issue, when I was brought in to NDDC, and at NDDC, I want to make this clear. Senator Akpabio, when he saw that I was not cooperating, refused for them to give me an official vehicle. I want to say before Nigerians, I didn't have an official vehicle. When I first came in, there were 2 bulletproof cars that I was using. On one of my trips to Abuja, and this is for my security, that's what I'm saying, a gentleman met me at the airport, said, Madam, you don't know me. I said, no, I'm one of your contractors. I said, how are you? And he said, I'm the one that gave you the car that you are using. I said, what? Using a contractor's car? And I'm supposed to superintend over a forensic audit? I called Senator Akpabio. I said, sir, you won't believe that car that I'm using, I thought it was from the commission, that it belongs to so and so. He said, no, don't worry, the man is a very good man. I asked him to. I just kept quiet. When I got back to Port Harcourt, I returned the car. The second car till this day from another contractor is still at the mechanics. In fact, after what happened yesterday, I've asked them to go and collect it so that I can keep it safely in case they ask and they don't say because I wrecked the car. I returned both cars. Now, the police that were my police ordinance, they were sent to my office by Akpabio's former ADC. when he was governor of Akwa Ibom State. I didn't know that. So, if I went to Peter's house, if it's a perceived enemy of Senator Akpabio, he will be told that I am right now in Peter's house. I give you an example. I went to see Mrs. Silva, who has been my longtime friend for over 20 years. Senator Akpabio said, yes, you went to see Mrs. Silva. Do you know the husband said this at back and that? You must not go there again. I was at the airport. They told me, one Takuku's driver told me that, madam, Mrs. Amechi is inside the airport. I walk in to go and greet Mrs. Amechi. Before I get to the gate, Senator Akpabio calls me, yes, you went to have a meeting with Mrs. Amechi because you want to plan against my presidential. I was being monitored. Now, 3 of the police people that came yesterday were 3 that was working with me in NDDC. So, what happened yesterday? The NDDC obviously was involved. What would have happened is that they would have taken me away. Since everyone has said they didn't know, I hear they say I'm a criminal. That's why they badged in like that to come to pick me up. But I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful because this is the modus operandi that happened in Akwa Ibom State. So, we Nigerians must please speak up because they could have taken me away yesterday. It's just by grace that I'm alive. So I'm very grateful.
Dr. Joy, thank you. Thank you very much for your time. We've taken your testimony. We'll wait for the hard copy of your presentation to enable us to work further on it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Got it off.
Can we have the lights on, please? The lights. Can we have the lights on, please? Technical, the lights. No. What is it for me? What's your let's just take their documents. Documents, and let's just take their documents. Okay. Osmo, sir, please. Osmo, sir. Osmo, sir. Do we have Osmo, sir, here? Huh? Osmo, sir, that's all of it.
These guys. No, we have this guy to call his empty.
I wrote down. I know. Okay, let me know how Is this Osmo, sir? Okay. Can you introduce yourself, please? Oath, please. Oath first. Oath.
I, Babatunde Adiboye, do solemnly swear that the evidence I shall give before this honorable committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
from my friendship. So I'll send you a text. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, can you introduce yourself, please? Can we know you?
My name is Babatunde Adeboye.
Please, hold on. Honorable colleagues.
My name is Babatunde Adeboye. I'm the Director of Operations for Osmoserve Global Limited.
Can you come again, please? Sorry.
My name is Babatunde Adeboye. I'm the Director of Operations for Osmoserve Global Limited.
Director of Operations.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, please permit me to extend the unreserved apologies of my MD. He can't be here at this time. We actually got this invitation. We actually saw the invitation on social media. We didn't get a formal invite, and we didn't even see it in the papers. So we came in on Wednesday because we're a responsible corporate citizen, and we actually cherish, value, and honor this esteemed committee. So please accept his regards and apology. Thank you.
Honorable colleagues, is it your opinion that we take him? Honorable Victor Mokolo. Okay, tell us what you are into, what you do.
Osmoserve Global Limited was incorporated in 2003.
You might need to speak a bit louder, please. Speak louder.
Osmoserve Global Limited was incorporated in 2003, 17 years ago, with a focus on general contracting, civil engineering, procurement, and logistics. They have actively been partnering with the Niger Delta in development of projects very timelessly. Osmoserve has partnered with a number of other institutions and has always had a track record of delivering their projects very timely, effectively, and in most efficient manner.
Okay, because not to waste your time and our precious time too, can you tell us the project, overview of the project you did for NDDC?
Which particular project, sir?
With respect to COVID-19.
Okay, we did, we supplied medical equipment. This contract for the emergency supply and delivery of medical equipment and consumables to the NDDC warehouse in Port Harcourt.
Okay. Go on, please.
Yes, so we actually supplied medical equipment to the NDDC warehouse in Port Harcourt. The project was actually in two components: medical equipment and then logistics.
Sorry, when you said two components, two different letters of award?
No, one contract, but I'm saying the breakdown were in two components: the supply of medical equipment. That was Bill 1.
Sorry, did you bring your incorporation papers?
Yes, I'll give you all the documents you want.
Okay. Did you bid for this job? Was there a tender process?
Mr. Chairman, I am under oath. The procurement process I'm not competent to speak about. I'll be honest with you. The procurement of this particular contract, I am under oath. I am not competent to speak about it because I was not a part of it.
So that means you're not competent to represent the company?
I want to talk about the delivery of the project. That's what I'm...
No.
I can see that it's an emergency award, but I was not a part of the procurement. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, before you go, have you delivered the project 100%?
Yes, 100%. And we have pictorial evidence to show, and we have our certificate of completion. I have pictorial evidence here to show.
Please submit your documents.
And we're completely discharged with the letter of...
Discharged by who?
The NDDC completion certificate.
Okay.
It's not competent to say anything.
Okay. We are really interested in the procurement process as well.
Okay.
So since you've been truthful enough to own up to the fact that you're not competent to talk about that particular part, then we can't build something or nothing. You know, your delivery is as a result of the procurement process. So we can. So I'll just please submit your documents. You brought your presentation, your award letter.
Yes.
Agreements.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And okay. So please submit these documents to
The Secretariat.
to the Secretariat. Yeah. And perhaps. Osmo sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, Osmo sir.
It's not competent. Which question do you want? It's not competent. It's not competent. No. The chairman should rule on that. No, the chairman should rule on that.
Osmo sir.
Yes. Mr.
As I've said earlier, very clearly, submit your documents to the Secretariat, and on Monday, the committee will love to see those that are competent to speak about all issues, including procurement matters. Thank you.
As the chairman pleases, thank you very much, Honorable Committee.
Yeah, Honorable Maki, please.
Yes, okay, sir. Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, I remain Abubakar Maki Eleman. I'm from Jigawa State. I represent Malamudori Kaugama Federal Constituency. Mr. Chairman, I want to move a motion that the minister should be taken of the Niger Delta next time based on the presentation we have received from the other people that spoke. Thank you. I so move. He should be someone here. So I so move, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think I want to move a motion that there is need. Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, I'm Abubakar Maki Eleman. I represent Malamudori Kaugama Federal Constituency. I'm from Jigawa State. I want to move a motion that there is need for us to summon the Minister of Niger Delta to this committee. I so move. Thank you.
Deputy Chairman, my name is Honorable Princess Miriam Odinaka Onoha. I represent Isia Lamba Nonimo, Okigwe Federal Constituency. I'm from Imo State. I rise to second this motion that the Minister of Niger Delta be summoned to come and appear to answer to some of the questions bordering his persons. I so second. On Monday, I so second.
If you are in support of the motion, say aye. Aye. Those say nay. Nay. The ayes have it. The Honorable Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Dr. Godswill Akpabio, is hereby summoned by this committee to appear before it 11 a.m. on Monday.
Thank you.
Sorry. We're most likely. AHR Global. AHR Global. Let him just submit his documents and go. Mr. AHR Global, I think you were here yesterday.
Very well, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so has the identity changed from yesterday to today? From yesterday, your identity has changed?
Sorry?
Are you now the MD of the company?
No, Mr. Chairman.
So what
the committee asked that the chairman of the MD of AHR should appear.
And are you the chairman?
No, I'm not the chairman, I'm not the MD, sir.
You are the?
I'm not the chairman, I'm not the MD.
Yeah, who are you?
I am the lawyer representing AHR. I was here yesterday. No, Mr. Chairman, I'm here to convey because I was asked to ask the MD
point
to
of order,
appear.
Mr. Chairman. Point of order. Chairman, honorable colleagues, please don't take us to be maybe a market or station or garage boys. This is a parliament. This is a parliament. We ought to be respected because you are the people that elected us to be here to serve Nigerian people. And we are doing it for the sake of Nigerians, not for anybody. The committee has ruled that they want to see the MD, the CEO, who is competent to talk on the happenings or the progress or the process of their company. You are here, we tell you you are not competent like you have said. You are a lawyer to the company. We want to see the MD. That's the rule of the committee. Please.
Very well, sir. I'm here to convey to the committee that the MD is out of the country.
Hold on.
Honorable Sheikh Koko, point of order sustained. You can take your leave.
Yes, this is summoning. The MD should be summoned. If you are going to issue a warrant arrest to the MD, to the MD of the company,
Chairman, any other person that impersonates MD should be arrested.
Honorable colleagues, honorable colleagues, invited guests, let this be very clear. We are not joking here, and this is precious legislative time that is meant for purposeful legislative work for the people of Nigeria. And nobody should come here to come and test the steel of this committee. We expect the MD of AHR Global to be here on Monday, 20th of July 2020 by 11 a.m., failure upon which a warrant of arrest shall be issued on him. Roadmap. So before you take, are you the MD? Are you the MD of Roadmap?
Be on record.
Are you the managing director of Roadmap?
No, I'm not. I'm the company secretary.
Okay. Okay. We told you earlier to get the MD on Zoom. Is he available?
No, he's not available.
He's not available?
Yeah, because he...
Okay, never mind. We'll take him on Monday. Thank you.
So I can move this one.
Chairman.
Okay.
Honorable Ben. Honorable colleagues, distinguished guests, I want to appreciate you for the time. I want to appreciate you for the precious time we have invested in nation building. And may I expressly say this, parliamentary work are not meant to be done on the streets. They're meant to be undertaken in the hallowed chambers of the National Assembly. Yesterday, I received a notice that some people went to mobilize some protesters and did banners as if they are in my support, thereby trying to create a scenario of the chairman of this committee disrupting public peace. I want to say clearly, I'm a legislator, and legislative work are meant to be done here, not on the street. I'm not in any way, and I believe nobody in this committee is anywhere involved in that. Also, we want to assure Nigerians that more than ever before, we are ready to work. Okay. We want to assure you that this committee, and by extension, the House of Representatives under the able leadership of Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, is committed in terms of working for the well-being of Nigerians. In carrying out our constitutional responsibility, we shall not shy away from hard decisions.
So you will just you will just talk to him.
Your Excellency, sir.
Monday? Okay, sir. Okay, that's the motion. Yes. Okay. Okay, that will be done immediately. Okay, sir. That will be done immediately.
Yes, I don't know. Point of order, Mr. Chairman. At yesterday's sitting, we had an experience of the acting managing director of the IMC of the NDDC work out on this committee. I move, Mr. Chairman. I am Francis Ejiro-Oganewa. I represent the entire people of Ughelli North, Ughelli South, and Uduam from Delta State. I move that the MD of the IMC of the NDDC appear before this, be summoned and appear before this committee on Monday by 11 a.m. Without fail. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My dear colleagues, I am Honorable Ben Roland Igbakba. I represent Ethiop East, Ethiop West, and by the special grace of God, we are from Delta States. I hereby second the motion for the reappearance of the head of the IMC of NDDC to answer questions from this committee on Monday the 20th by 11 a.m. I beg to second.
If you are in support of this motion, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it.
MD should appear.
This. That, Honorable Bonta.
Yeah, Uzama Nkema Bonta. Having regard to the motion adopted now, I further move that service of the notice of the summons should be via electronics, publications, and all whatnot. For avoidance of contact, it should be by adverse of state service. I so move.
I, Honorable Dr. Shehu Koko, I hereby second that the service of summon to the Minister of Niger Delta, Godswill Akpabio, and the acting MD of NDDC should be via electronic media. I so second, Honorable Chairman.
If you are in support, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The acting managing director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, Professor Keme Badimo Daniel Ponde, is hereby summoned to appear before this committee on Monday, the 20th of July, 2012, at 11 a.m. Via electronic and substituted means. I hereby rule. Sorry. 20th of July, 2020.
Mr. Chairman, please, if you may allow me, procedurally, we're supposed to have resigned the decision of yesterday on the motion for arrest before this summoning. The arrest motion that is existing, we're supposed to move to cancel it before this summoning.
Honorable Ben. Point of order overruled. Honorable colleagues, invited guests, I wish to appreciate each and every one of you for the precious time we have invested in the development of the Niger Delta people. I have always said this, the 9th National Assembly will never sacrifice the future of the Niger Delta people for the sake of our comfort of today. We are more determined than ever to work for the people of the Niger Delta. Having said this, I want to appreciate you for your precious time and assure you that we will conclude this investigation in the best way possible and bring the light to the people of the Niger Delta. Once again, I wish to appreciate you for the precious time. And may it be on record that the Honorable Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and the Managing Director of the Interim Management Committee of NDDC, the Managing Director of Roadmap, the Managing Director of AHR Global, and I hereby summoned appear before this committee unfailingly by 11 a.m. Monday, the 20th day of July in the year 20. Motion for adjournment, please. Honorable Idem, please.